What's up? What's up? Welcome to No Life Tech Show. Every week on Wednesday, you get a tech show. We talk about tech. We talk about media. We talk about Apple products. We talk about photography news. We talk about cryptocurrencies. We talk about Elon Musk. We talk about it all on this show, all right? Every Wednesday, it comes to you. You're going to enjoy it. Make sure you head over to our website, nolife.digital. You can check it out here. All the episodes get uploaded here. You can also sign up for our podcast. If you want to listen to the audio version, just head over to the podcast little button here. You can listen to it right up on the website, or you can hit up subscribe on iTunes or Android. We have crypto sections, media sections where we talk about movies and music. There's another music podcast that gets put up there as well. The tech portion is where all our tech news goes. We have tech reviews. Then, of course, the gaming section, which is we do a gaming show every Tuesday, which you probably listened to already. And then, and then there's just a video tab where all of our videos go. Rocking and rolling on content. We got everyone firing at full cylinders. So just make sure you guys subscribe to us and, follow us over on our social. No Life Digital on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Boom. That's so you can stay updated on everything that we're doing. Right now, it's just me and Jerry. Me and Jerry are hanging out. We got some news to talk about. What's up, dude?
Dude, another day, another dollar. I don't fucking know.
Another day, another dollar. Boom.
Yeah. Also, by the time this goes out, there should be a series I'm trying to do called The Build.
There you go.
I'm thinking The Build, but it's just gonna be a monthly build series of just computer shit you should buy. On
the site or on the YouTube
website? We'll see about. I mean, maybe on YouTube, but not yet. Yeah, I'm gonna do it for the site mostly because I don't know, dude. Build if you do build guides are fine, I think, but doing build suggestions are stupid unless you actually have all the parts to do it. So I mean, if you're if you're Linus Tech Tips type where you just get all your parts for free, yeah, dude, fucking do it every month.
Right.
But
well, what's his name?
I'm not going to be able to give you $3,000 worth of reviews every fucking month.
Well, what's his name does it where I guess he has the products because he's a big reviewer, but he also when he does the build guides, he just goes to Newegg and chooses the parts.
Yeah.
So I guess you could do it that way, but then again, in that case,
all hardware.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Do that, yeah.
Yeah, but in that case, you might as well just do it on the site,
Yeah. Well, it's because if you're actually going to build it, I think it's actually kind of cool, but otherwise,
Well, be on the lookout for that on the website. Make sure you follow us. That way you can get updated. Goes right over to our Twitter. Also, if you follow us on Discord, you get all the updates on new articles and stuff like that. It pops up in a little tab on Discord, which is cool. All right, real quick. Walking Dead season finale.
Fuck off.
I wish Luca was here. I want to talk about it. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, by the way.
What's the Reddit post that's made every Sunday that, there's going to be a new Walking Dead episode. Expect a thread. Expect telling everyone how fucking shit it was.
Well, I will say I was disappointed a lot in the past couple seasons. All right. That's an understatement. I was pretty disappointed in what was going on. But this show somehow figures out a way to reel me back in, especially towards the end of the seasons. It just all kind of comes together, and then I just can't get rid of it, dude. So I'm going to have to tune in next season. But listen, spoiler alert. If you don't want it to be spoiled, close your ears, skip ahead for about 5 minutes. This was a pretty dope season finale. It was a great way to wrap up the Negan plot, which has been dragged on far too long. Negan, I think, is the best villain, one of the best villains ever. It was just really cool to see how he kind of turned from this real dark, mysterious type of villain into this more vulnerable type of villain where you learn more about who Lucille is and you learn more about his methods and how he becomes this kind of crazy motherfucker. And then towards the end of this season, the wrapping the show up, you'll learn how he just is really just out for vengeance, and his way of doing things isn't isn't a sustainable source anymore. And then the whole point of this season finale was to kind of get Negan and show the rest of the community, the saviors, which is Negan's like team, show them like his way of doing things is not the right way of doing things. And they did it in an interesting way. The way that they, spoiler alert, the way that they kind of killed him essentially was a little bit, it was kind of like there wasn't this big grand battle, which I'm sure everyone was kind of expecting. What happened was they all show up, and there was little things put in throughout the season to lead up to this point, so it wasn't like out of nowhere. But they all show up. Rick gets led into a trap by Negan. Like, he knew that Rick was gonna, go to these places. He sent out a fake kind of message that Dwight, who was working with Negan but also working with Rick, Dwight handed Rick over these schematics and saying, look, this is what the Saviors are gonna do, so make sure you guys are ready for it. Negan already knew this. He knew that Dwight was compromised, so he gave Dwight like a fake plan and basically led Rick into this trap. So then you're thinking, all right, how the fuck are they going to get out of this? They're about to run into a slaughter. The whole time you're thinking, do they know that this is a trap? Are they literally going to just like have a ton of people die? They all line up. All the saviors are out there pointing their guns at Rick and Rick's team. They're all ready to go. He says fire, and all of their guns explode, right? So what happened was Eugene, who used to be on Rick's team, was captured, and he became a savior. And he was really gung-ho from the beginning of it towards the end, where he was like, I'm all for Negan. I am Negan. I'm going to serve Negan. And then something happens along the way where he kind of changes his mind, and he's a smart dude, so Negan had him creating ammunition for him. So what he did was compromise the ammunition, fill them up with basically TNT. So when they would shoot, they would just all explode. And no one expected this to happen until it happened. And it was an awesome way, because you fucking hate Eugene at this point, right? Like, they make you really hate this guy. But then all of a sudden, he has this little smirk on his face right before all the guns explode. Boom, tide turns, and then Rick's team swarms them. They don't kill all the saviors. They basically kind of tell them to like sit down, put their hands up. Rick goes after Negan. They have this really emotional sort of back and forth between each other. Pretty emotional scene, I would say, too. It was really emotional these last few episodes with Carl dying, and it's kind of like, it felt for me like the way it was like the show is killing off some of the ideas from the comic, and it felt like they wanted to portray that in this season. I think they did a good job of doing that, because I am excited to see how this kind of all turns out. So essentially what happens is they don't kill Negan. They want to imprison him and make him an example of how not to be and how there is civilization again, right? So they want to, create this prison that Morgan created, throw him in there, and anyone, I guess, who else is bad turns in there. But there's this fucking little red herring in the middle, towards the end of the season, or end of the episode, where you find out that essentially, I won't say who, but essentially Rick's main partners are very, very upset with him that he didn't kill Negan. They really wanted him to kill Negan. So you kind of get this weird moment, like, are they really going to backstab and try to kill Rick and Michonne? So that kind of what is leading me now back into watching it for another fucking season, because I am interested in seeing that plot line come about. Because you gotta remember, Negan was a pretty fucked up dude, and what he did to some of Rick's team is pretty fucked up. So of course there's a lot of animosity there, and they wanted to kill him, but we'll see. I was actually really happy with the season finale. I was happy with I would say the last few episodes. Little disappointed here and there, but overall, I think the season did do a good job of just doing what they should be doing, which is just creating a good show. Stop worrying about being so truthful to the comics. Stop worrying about creating this super cliffhanger thing that just drags on and drawn. Just create like a good show with good storylines and good plots. Let's get back to that, and then we can kind of rebuild a new thing that's separate from the comics. They also take Morgan, who's a star of The Walking Dead, and they put him, they crossed him over to Fear of the Walking Dead, which I have not seen, but I hear it actually is better than The Walking Dead. So there's a lot of things going on. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty clever way to send us off into this next series. And I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. It's gonna be weird how Carl is not a part of this because that is the main point of
I was
these
just gonna
future
say, yeah.
comics. You
I
know?
was gonna say, so like, what is that? Is that why they did a spin-off? Is that where Carl comes back?
No, I think
Carl's just king of the zombies.
I think the spinoff is in the future because I don't know if you remember, but there was an episode 2 episodes ago where we see one of the characters. She's like going like this, right? And Negan sees it too, but she's like screaming and she has like a flare in her hand, and a fucking helicopter shows up, and you're just like, what? What is going on here? What is going on in this world? And I think that's gonna kind of allude to that other show with the helicopters, and I don't know, maybe there's another world or something. But overall, I am still interested, man. It's not, I guess they're really good at this. They're just like keeping you watching it. Even if you fucking hate it, there's just something about it that makes you want to watch. And I guess I'm along for another fucking ride. So I'll fill you guys in every episode along the way on what's going on. Walking Dead season 9, season 8. If I could give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. A little bit above average.
That's not that great.
No, it's not that great. If I'm comparing season 1, which to me is a 10 out of 10, easily 10 out of 10 season 8, 6.5. 6.5. And that's being generous. That's being off the high of that episode. Maybe if I look back, give it a couple weeks, then look back on it, I might even drop that score a little lower. But so far I was pretty happy with the season finale. All right, moving on. Have you been watching anything new? I don't know if there's much new shows besides like the TV shows that are still going on right now.
No, not really.
Have you watched Silicon Valley?
The first season.
This new season is fucking awesome, dude. You should watch it.
I really enjoyed the first season. I just stopped paying.
You don't have HBO, that's right.
No, I do. I just, when that came out, I bought HBO just to watch the first season.
Yeah.
So I watched all the first season. It was really good. Then I stopped paying for HBO, and then
You haven't gotten it back.
Yeah, no, I've gotten it back.
Oh.
I've gotten HBO back. I've just always forget about that Silicon Valley exists pretty much.
What I would do is if you have like a free weekend or if you're sick one day, just binge season 2 and then get into season 3 because the season 3 is really good. It's fucking hilarious, dude. I'm like right now they're dealing with China like ripping off American tech companies. So there are one Chinese, no one likes him. He's just like this Chinese dude that lives with them. He's creating like he has like this whiteboard of all these companies that he registered. New Facebook, new Twitter, new fucking Snapchat. So he's literally just creating these new fucking IPs. And,
not Weibo.
Funny.
It's definitely not called Weibo. Weeboo.
Yeah. I don't know. Last night's episode was hilarious too. All right.
So wait, I actually do have a question. So
Yeah.
TJ Miller's out of that, right?
Yeah, he's out. The way they sent him off was essentially everyone was mad at him, and he just moves away and gets addicted to opium in an opium den. And it makes sense.
That's fitting. That's fitting for TJ Miller.
It makes sense in terms of like how the storyline goes.
Okay.
It's like fitting for his character, you know?
Yeah. Because I don't know. TJ Miller's always been one of my love hates, where I think he's a funny stoner comedian, but at the same time everything's just like, all right, bud. All right, bro.
It was my opinion, that role for him in Silicon Valley was perfect. It was perfect for him. And he fucked it up, dude. He fucked it up.
Well, no, dude. He used to just like randomly give interviews from his like house in Colorado. Except the only times he'd give interviews, he was like hella fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Like hella fucked up doing like not even conspiracy theories, but like basically like, I don't know, when you're so far gone in the zone that you're like heavily philosophizing, whatever. Can't talk today. But you're going super, super deep into like, how should humans live? I'm going to give a 30-minute interview on this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like what his his character was on that show.
Yeah.
He's like, except trying to also be a CEO of a tech company while not knowing anything about tech.
I mean, I think in like 2010 or 2011, he started. I mean, he was doing stand-up comedy, but he ended up making like a couple of like a mini music album that was just like. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Well, it definitely wasn't great, but I mean, a lot of it was literally just like, I drink a lot.
Yeah,
Like that was the theme of the entire album, was just like, let me tell you about how we should just keep partying.
Dude, it sucks because he's obviously fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, he's fucked up right now, and that's, I guess, what happens to those type of people, man. He's gonna have to do something, otherwise his career's done for. Because he's a fucking funny dude. He was so good as Ehrlich in that show, but we'll see. All right.
Yeah, I think he fucked it up. He's been gone for a while, I think, to be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back. If he cleans up his act and he starts like, I can see him coming back, but it's got to be soon. Like, he has to do it soon, otherwise, like in comedy, it's rough, man. It's super competitive, you know. We'll see. All right. We didn't talk about Facebook testimony because we were out last week.
You're gone.
Let's talk about it.
Missed their chance of all the memes.
All right. So there's a ton of memes. Awesome memes. Essentially, Facebook, Zuckerberg testifies in front of Congress. They just are asking him questions about security and user data. They want to know more about what happened with the Russian intelligence. They're just kind of questioning him. They grill him pretty hard, considering, you know, you don't see this from a lot of other companies. But essentially, what I got from it, because we'll try to keep this short, is that I don't think he understands the position he's in society, because he's super socially awkward. And I don't think he realizes, like, he's never been in that position in his life. Like, he's probably, you know, never the class clown or, you know, the most talked about person. He's probably never been to, like, you know, he didn't have that life. But now he is one of the most powerful figures in society, and I don't think he realizes that. And his technology is
I think he realizes it. He just also doesn't. He has no fucking idea how to handle that.
Yeah. Like, if this was Elon Musk, I feel we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know what I mean? He seems more understanding of his position.
Had most tech CEOs, we wouldn't be in this position.
True.
Because, like, he
is young too. I will say that.
He's young, but he is that, like, super stereotypical, hella introverted programmer. Yeah. Where most of the other company, you know, even most major tech companies, they gave up programming and focused on the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I don't think he ever did that mentally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know. He strikes me as the guy who's still, like, definitely, don't talk to me. I just want to do work on this one little tiny thing. And now he's, like, in all of the limelight.
Yeah. That's definitely what it seemed like. You kind of feel bad for the guy, because you sense this, right? Like, you watch him and I see a lot of people who, I used to defend him, and I used to defend Facebook a lot when people talked about privacy and people talked about security, because everyone knows that as soon as you get into social media, you basically are signing away privacy. So anything that you fucking post on Facebook is obviously going to be used in manners that you don't want to be used. So don't post things, don't say things on social media that you don't want out there, right? But it seems to be that there is
it's way deeper. It's way deeper than that.
It seems to be that it's not only that is much deeper, but that a lot of the people who use this social media don't understand that either. You know what I mean? I guarantee you all of those that were talking to him in this interview, they all have a Facebook page. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and all of them don't fucking have an idea what they're talking about, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but no, it's part of the same story, because
I know
they're posting shit that they're posting shit all the time, and they don't realize that some of the stuff that they're posting, they might not want out there in any form or matter, you know?
It's partially that, but like it's way deeper than that. Like that's not where, I mean, that's to an extent where a decent amount of the data comes from, but even more comes from the like button. More of it comes from just tracking and just being able to like micro target you.
Right.
Like,
But I think that's up to the consumer to also understand. Like,
but
if
yeah,
you like
but
something, like,
that is the harder thing to understand. It's easy to understand, like, okay, I'm going to Facebook, I have to watch myself, but now I've signed into Facebook, and now almost, you know, probably 80% majority of the websites you go to are now still tracking you because they have a Facebook button. You're completely oblivious of that shit.
yeah. Loco, by the way, we're talking about Zuckerberg's testimony.
That said, if we wanted to get deeper into it, there are things I will defend Facebook on. Not even so much defend Facebook, but like, I don't know, some of the outrage kind of terrifies me towards the rest of the. I don't care. I don't really care about Facebook, but I think it's just a lot deeper and a lot more nuanced, and it's going to affect a lot more of the tech industry if shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm more worried about. But it's also like, dude, Facebook is really fucking scary. Like there is things that needs to basically be regulated or like checked out and people be made aware of. But like, it's also, what worries me is it's got more deeper effects than just the US. Like, I mean, dude, Southeast Asia and India, Facebook owns them. Like, they don't text; they use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. Like that.
Without that, they have no communications.
Yeah, like there's tons of things there where it's like
a lot of countries use WhatsApp
it's
too.
Fucking crazy how deep this shit goes.
Yeah, and I think like in terms of security and your data, like one of the guys, I don't remember who it was, but he was like, how do you assure that my data is my data and that I own my data, and why aren't I getting paid for my data being used? And it's hard to tell them, like, your data is your data. It's whatever you input is yours. You own that, but you don't necessarily own the idea of that. You don't own the transaction. You don't own the tracking of that. You don't own the analytics of that. You just own what you do, right? So you click a like on refrigerator, like Samsung refrigerators. There's a lot of schematics and analytics that can be purchased and traded just by that single thing that you did. Now you own that action. You know, you own that, whatever it is you clicked. Well, whatever you get out of it is up to you. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say you still own that product, but you don't own any of the 7 patents that went into making the smart fridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think people don't understand. It doesn't really goes through their head that, okay, my data is up to me to control on how other companies should use it, because you can't do that. If you don't want a company selling your information, selling the fact that you like Samsung refrigerators, well then don't like Samsung refrigerators.
Way too far gone for that's part of the problem I have with this conversation is like, yeah, dude, we need to have this conversation like, God, 17, 18, 20 years ago. Like,
well, that's what I mean. That's
crash.
That's
like,
what I mean.
We're gone, and we can't. It's over.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, there's no point in attacking Facebook, because this should have happened so many years ago, before it became so ingrained in society, and now it's too late. You know, well, now you can stop using Facebook.
Now it's the entire standard too, though. Like, it's not even just Facebook. Like, literally every company's operating off of this. Like, this is the standard, basically.
Yeah. And it's like, if you don't want, if you are someone who doesn't want your data traded upon, well, then you literally can't use the internet. You can't use the internet. So I understand the debate.
Is honestly, also fine in my opinion, because there, like, to me too, there's. That's why I say there's like always more nuances to this, because like also in itself, micro-targeting isn't inherently evil.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's great.
It's not. Yeah. but like how it's used in this situation is fucking terrible. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
you're gonna
there's a
have
lot
people
more,
that exploit it for sure all the time.
right, but it that's leads to a lot of scares too, I think, where it's just like, well, we can't, you can't ignore 80% of the good parts because of 20% of the bad parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I am somewhat worried that we're just gonna like blow it all up.
I don't think so, because I think the government uses a lot of that data. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want that data tracked. So I don't understand what the point of this testimony was for. I guess really what they wanted to know was, hey, what's up with the Russian thing? You know, what did that affect? That's essentially the vibe that I got from it. They don't care about how much money he's making upon the data. They want to know how that happened. And now hopefully someone has an understanding that someone can tell them, and they can make some sort of regulations on that. I know Facebook is trying some things.
I mean, dude, Facebook wants regulations. Google wants regulations. They all want regulations to a minor extent. Like,
yeah, at least
all the
they'll
big
understand. At least
companies do.
they'll know too, like what to do about it. You know what I mean? Once
Well, it's
regulations
partially
are put into
that too, but
place.
you can use it as a scapegoat. Like, trust me, like Apple would love to actually have a law saying they have to give like your phone information away to police, because then they don't have to do anything about it and just blame that. Like, it's the same thing with the Cloud Act. Like, Microsoft was fighting to protect your data being overseas, but at the same time, they were kind of hinting at and just being like, well, the Cloud Act's probably going to be passed, so we don't have to do that. That's lower costs on us, and we can just get to blame the government.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of that too right now in some of the higher tech companies, where it's just like, hey, everyone hates the government right now, so stop hating us, hate the government.
Yeah. I have a question for you. This is an interesting debate here. One of the questions by Lindsey Graham asked, you don't think you have a monopoly? Like, he asked Zuckerberg,
No,
do you have
okay.
a monopoly? And he says it doesn't feel like that to me. I personally believe if data is a product, Facebook absolutely has a monopoly. Absolutely. A global monopoly on data.
Nah.
There is so much data that they're tracking. Data that
I
something
wouldn't say
someone
no,
like
I wouldn't say it's
Samsung wouldn't be able to really track.
true, but it's not a sole monopoly. You also have Google, you also have Apple, and you also have Microsoft. You also have Amazon. Like those guys together, they got the monopoly. You're right. Like, there is a monopoly, but I don't think it's not solely Facebook.
What is it called? An oligopoly? There's an oligopoly.
Yeah, an oligarchy. Yeah, but a monopoly version of an oligarchy.
Yeah, I would like to see how much of I would like to
No, I was
see
gonna-
how much money Facebook makes compared to Google, Apple, Amazon in terms of data. You know what I mean? In terms of trading data.
In terms of data, probably more, but they're closer to Google in that sense.
Do you think Google owns more of the data, or trades more data than Facebook does?
I don't know about trading, but they're both pretty similar in terms of ad revenue. So that would make me think they're kind of similar in terms of data, just off of the idea of using that to micro target.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also pretty much as in the dark as everybody who isn't at one of these 5 companies, pretty much.
Right. I think that's
release numbers.
I think that's a really big question to ask, and you know, how much data is really in the hands of only these companies? You know, I would really love to know that, because that essentially, if data is a product and you have a monopoly on that, that's illegal in the United States. You know what I mean? You can't put forth blocks to stop another company from being able to access that sort of data, or access the trade of data as easily as they do. So I think that could be interesting, because if you're talking about a capitalist society which we live in, well, the best thing that can take Facebook down, if you don't want a society that trades all this data openly, you need to have a competitor that, you know, is cool with being able to keep you private and make sure that you're not trading places like Cambridge Analytica. And you need a competitor to do that. And if they have this monopoly,
It's also called Europe right now with GDRP.
What's that?
which that's it's basically the EU's version of regulations that includes right to privacy and stuff like that. Basically, what it
Are they
says is
suing
that,
Facebook?
no, maybe, I don't know. No, like, but basically the idea of that, I mean, it's been passed. I think it might now be out. I don't know. I should probably know that because it affects some of my websites. So I should probably look into that. But basically,
that's all like legal shit too. You're getting into
yeah.
like,
Well, pretty much what that does is it's what caused, it's why Facebook and Google now have scapegoats of, oh yeah, you can see what data we have on you, sorta. It's literally because of that, because basically that's what that regulations did, was say, okay, the user has to be able to see their data, they have to be able to pull their data, they have to be able to deny their data, they have the right to be forgotten. And then also the idea too is, at some point, I don't know if it actually made it in because I haven't looked at it in a hot minute, but I thought at one point the idea too was it would have to kind of show where data is. So like that's a bad way to describe it. Like I thought part of the idea was okay, say data has your, like Facebook has your data. You go to Facebook and enter your data. That means Facebook has the responsibility of your data. If they sell it to someone and you go to that person's website, there has to basically be a warning saying, hey, we got your data from Facebook, but Facebook's still top level responsible for it.
yeah.
So it's trying to put like a level of responsibility on that.
The EU General Data Protection Regulation. And you can see here there's a lot of companies that are saying, hey, if you're doing business in the EU, are you GDPR ready? And now they're selling services to make sure that you're GDPR ready, which is interesting. It's kind of like what's happening in the vaping industry with TDP. But this is interesting. I didn't know what this was until you just brought it up. I got to check into that. But that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, I bring that up because, like, if we were to instate regulation, I'm okay with this. Like this is kind of a good
that way a
idea
user would be able to to track where that data came from, essentially.
Right. It's a lot like for most of Europe, you still have to declare cookies if you go to a website. Like that's why those cookie pop-ups still exist. It's not because of the US. You don't have to do that for the US. But if you're in Europe, you legally have to state you're using cookies. It's just little things like that.
Yeah.
But so it would probably end up being another little pop-up like that. I need to still look into it more. But like that kind of idea is what I'd more be on board for versus like
that, because it allows companies
whatever
to still
our current
take
Congress will do.
Well, it allows companies to sort of still take whatever data they want from you, but kind of give them the legal backing by saying,
the choice.
Yeah, by saying, hey, we told you that
you're being aware.
Right.
So like that I'm totally okay with, but I also want it for selfish reasons of if I have to do business in multiple countries like I do with websites and things like that, and like web apps working on the web, yeah, the more normalized the standard, the better, because it just makes my job easier.
Yeah, I hear you on that, man. All right, last little thing from this testimony: is Facebook a tech firm or a publisher? This is an interesting question as well.
They're a tech firm.
Dan Sullivan asked this question. He says, when people ask us if we're a media company or a publisher, my understanding is what the heart of what they're really getting is, do we feel responsibility for the content on our platform? Zuckerberg said. To answer that, I think is clearly yes, but I don't think that's incompatible with fundamentally at our core being a technology company where the main thing we do is have engineers and build products, which makes sense. It makes sense. But they're pushing a lot more on sort of publishing content like YouTube does, to the point where I was watching that H3 podcast. I was talking to you guys about it before with Harley Mornstein, and he was talking about how he's making way more money and way bigger numbers on Facebook than he does on YouTube. And I
Yeah,
find that super alluring, you know?
well, it's one of those. It really depends on what your market is. You know what I mean?
His market's perfect for Facebook.
Yeah, because like if
Recipes, come on.
exactly, like if your target is general populace, especially older, like yeah, dude, Facebook's the dream. But like if your target market, for example, is video games, don't put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because like that's what
At least
ESL.
not yet. At least not yet.
Yeah, no. Well, no, because even then, just because like there is like you have to know if your niche is mainstream or counterculture. You know what I mean? Because like ESL tried to do that with CS:GO, and they've been doing it on Facebook because Facebook gave them a bunch of money. Yeah, their numbers are shit. Like everyone basically left it. Like they went from usually having like 50,000 on Twitch easily watching it to usually closer to 100,000 to like they're lucky to see 2,000.
And I'm not saying like completely move over to Facebook. Like if I were to do it, I would upload both YouTube and Facebook. And
oh yeah, that's what you should be doing.
Curate like specific, and instead of just linking the YouTube, they want you to actually natively upload to Facebook, but curating it in a way that fits Facebook. So he was saying like you don't really need to watch the full video. You just need 3 seconds of someone looking at your video to count as a view. So if you catch them for 3 seconds, you have a view, and that can translate into money and whatnot. But I find it interesting. I'm going to look at Facebook a lot more deeply and on that end. You also need to be partnered to make money on Facebook, which is I hear is not easy. All right, let's move on. Thousands of Android apps violate COPPA laws. COPPA being the child protection law. I forget the exact name of it. Let's see if I can find it here. The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Thousands of child-directed Android apps and games are potentially violating U.S. law on the collection and sharing data on those under 13. Research revealed a study conducted on 6,000 child-directed Android apps from the U.S. Play Store, which are included in Google's Design and Families program, found that well over half of the apps potentially violated the COPPA. We identified several concerning violations and trends, wrote the authors of the proceeding on privacy-enhancing technologies led by researchers at Invitational Computing Science Institute at the University of California, Berkeley. Overall, roughly 57 of the 5,855 child-directed apps that we analyzed are potentially violating COPPA. So potentially violating. They haven't looked too deeply into it, but from what they're seeing, it looks like they are, which makes sense to me.
It's potentially violating because legally you're not allowed to have a Google account until you're over 13 because of this. So they don't actually know. Like, in the end user license agreements, like to make a Google account, you have to be over 13 because of this to be legal with this.
So here's a quote. The researchers found that 28% of the apps access sensitive data protected by Android permissions, and that 73% of the tested apps transmitted sensitive data over the internet. Quote, while accessing a sensitive resource or sharing it over the internet does not necessarily mean that an app is in violation of COPPA, none of these apps attained verifiable parental consent. If the automated testing was able to trigger the functionality, then a child would as well. This is an incredibly important study that demonstrates that many apps for children are violating COPPA at a massive scale, said Josh Golan, executive director of the Campaign for Commercial-Free Childhood. Many kids' apps are sharing personal information with third parties who do data-driven personalized marketing, the very thing COPPA was supposed to guard against. So it's also a lot of it is just data sharing.
Remember when I said that this is the standard?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, no, I mean, this is shitty. There's no other way to put that. But at the same time, that would be a hard legal battle, I think, because technically the kids aren't allowed to have accounts.
Well, not only that, but I don't know. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you're online, then your information is compromised regardless.
Yeah.
I don't think it should even really be an age thing. Because like you said, it's anytime some kid lies on an age verification thing, then that pretty much throws everything out the window.
Even if the same thing with buying vape shit online though. Literally, it's just there for legal issue reasons. That's why the age is 13. Like that's why almost every online gaming thing, stuff like that, you've always had to be 13.
Yep. Well, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, quote unquote. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Kids are stupid. I mean,
40% shared personal information without applying reasonable security measures. 18% shared persistent identifiers with their parties for prohibited purposes such as ad targeting. And 39% showed ignorance or disregard for contractual obligations aimed at protecting children's privacy. So I guess a lot of it also is that a lot of them haven't even checked. You know what I mean? They probably didn't even fucking check what the standards were for COPPA laws, which was the Silicon Valley episode, which was a fucking awesome episode because he makes a fucking app, like a Skype messaging app, and they find out like tons of 12 and 13-year-olds sign up for the app, and he violates like 5,000 COPPA laws, and they get charged like $10 billion. Pretty good episode. Well, I don't know. I guess you're gonna need a lawyer if you want to fucking clean your app up. Otherwise, you're kind of gambling. Who knows if you're gonna get taken to court or not? I don't know who would take you to court. I guess a consumer could take you to court for violating COPPA law.
They could, but it would be really hard, like I said. Because technically, you'd be violating COPPA law in the first place if you signed, not COPPA law, but I mean, you'd be violating the legal agreement anyway if your under 13-year-old signed it.
Well, what if you were because it looks like, I guess Google has its, because it says it's from the Google Design for Families program. So I guess if you're a parent, these apps are specific to your children that you can let your children use. So I wonder if it's like a Google thing at the end of the day. Should Google enforce these COPPA restrictions or have standards for them? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, probably, to be honest. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, a parent's going to give their kid a phone for a bit, but it's still their parent's phone technically. Like that's the idea of that thing existing.
Yeah.
But not for them to have their own, you know, their own Google account. So that's what you're right. There should be there for that section, but in the form of like, you know, the parental controls.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the basis of that would be.
I mean, let's be for real. Even if it's there in the parental controls, like most parents aren't gonna use the parental controls anyway.
Yeah.
No, but
also I mean, like a lot of them were sharing data, which I guess they don't want you doing that either.
Right, but like it's at the end, a lot of it's illegal stuff because like you can, I don't know, in my head, I can only think of this as a legal battle because, I mean, no one's gonna stop giving their 5-year-olds a tablet to shut them up, so they'll start watching YouTube. You know what I mean?
Mm. All right, moving on. Netflix is soaring after it crushed subscriber growth targets yet again. Netflix is destroying it. Actually, their stock was up quite a bit, and it looks like it went down just a notch. Actually, let's look at their stock.
Yeah, it looks like it dropped 1.2%.
Yeah. Well, it went up.
Crushing it.
It went up
Crushing it.
It went up from 308 to about...
you know how hilarious it was when I read that headline that I looked down and saw red numbers? I was like, oh.
It started at 308 and it went all the way up to where it's currently at 307.
It went all the way up to 307.78.
I'm trying to find Q1 here. All right, so Q1, we're looking at... We'll start it at... what does Q1 start? January?
Yeah.
Let's see. So we'll start January 3rd. $205. So we're up at like 307. 307.78.
Yeah, that's a good $100 a share. Yeah.
No, it's jumped considerably in the first quarter, and it looks like it's been pretty stagnant for at least 2017. Where 2017 it's only grown from 133 to 180, 190, and then it's grown up another $100 in Q1. It seemed like it hit like a pretty big dip on March 9th. But who knows what that's for? Yeah. They could have just spent a shitload of money.
When's your announcements come out? Because welcome to tech stocks. Whenever quarters are announced, it drops 10%, and then gains 20% throughout the quarter. Just that's how tech stocks work.
Netflix blew past its subscriber growth targets in its first quarter earnings report Monday, and its stock rose by more than 6% in hours trading. Streaming giant added a total of 7.4 million subscribers in the U.S. and internationally, its biggest total for Q1. Netflix reported $3.7 billion in revenue, in line with Wall Street estimates and the company's forecasts. I don't know how like I don't know what's getting people to sign up for Netflix now. Like, there's not like that show, right? Like House of Cards or I don't know what's another big Netflix show that's out there. I don't know, like Ozark and stuff like that. Like, I could see kind of subscribing and want to see that. But what show has been pretty big in Q1 on Netflix? You know what I mean? They're saying like Altered Carbon, David Letterman's new show.
20,000 of them that exist that people watch that they. I mean, like,
yeah, but what is that show that would make that
like
that jump so large?
Altered Carbon came out and everyone's super fucking pumped, and they get through it, and then they're like, "Oh shit! Now I have to watch Ozark. Now I have to watch this other special that was really good, and this other special that was really good, and this other like." Netflix finally has that library of many good specials that I really doubt some like. You know, like,
yeah, but that wasn't all Q1 though, is what I'm saying. You know?
No, I know, but if someone hasn't had it yet, they're like, they're gonna be like, oh shit, I have, yeah, exactly.
But that's what I'm asking. What would make someone want to jump in now? There's not like that. There's not like that hard hitting. It wasn't like a new House of Cards kind of came out. You know what I mean? Or I'm trying to figure out if there's like a reason why. Because it seemed like there was regular, steady growth for the past 4 years.
Yeah, the biggest reason I think would be just because they have that catalog now.
Yeah,
like it's pretty compelling to like be Netflix and be like, yeah, dude, we have basically 50 shows everyone's been hyped on for the last 3 years.
Yeah, well,
like
Amazon. I feel like they always had a catalog.
We got 3.
Well, not only that, even with fucking HBO,
there's
like
the exclusives now. Is for a long time it was like, oh shit, dude, we got all the South Park. Now it's like, oh no, we have stuff you can only watch here that's like award winning.
Yeah, but that was that's what I'm saying. Like House of Cards is one, Ozark's another. You had like the Dave Chappelle specials and shit like that, all those comedy specials. But that's been like the last 2 years. Like, what in 2018? I don't even. I guess Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon's the only thing that came out.
Black Mirror, was that a Q1 season, or was that 2017?
I can't remember.
But
I mean, I think part of it's just because you now have all of that. Versus like, I mean, even then, like it was like, okay, yeah, I'd subscribe for House of Cards, but once I'm done watching the 3 hours of House of Cards, what else you got for me? Like,
you had a lot. You had a lot.
No, you do, but like I just mean of like the specials, there wasn't yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean, Wayne. You're trying to figure out what specific event.
I don't think it was a specific event.
I think it's just up over time. Like, because Netflix is definitely one of those things that you subscribe to and you just always stay subscribed to it. Unless you're just really hard on money, you always stay subscribed to Netflix. Whereas things like HBO, like HBO Now, you subscribe when Game of Thrones comes back on and you watch that, and when it's over with, you stop watching it, or Westworld or whatever.
We really were just talking about something like that just before. Yeah, but
like Netflix is not like it's got such a fucking library, and especially with them doing tons of movie stuff. Like, I mean, they have had great marketing. Like
maybe that's
that like the Cloverfield thing. Like, maybe that's what it is. Putting an ad out in the Super Bowl and then just being like, yeah, it's out as soon as the Super Bowl ends. Like stuff like that. Like they have so much shit now that I don't think it can be credited to.
No, that's what it is, Jerry. That's what that's the specific event, because we didn't have those exclusive movies until Q1. We didn't have that fucking. What was that fucking Will Smith movie?
That was December, but like, you know, the very end of Q4, yeah. Like they're even.
That's what it was.
Now to like, there's
that's
even
the event. That's the event. That's what it was.
Right. You know what's a really good Netflix exclusive movie that came out? It's Game Over, man.
Yeah, I watched that, dude.
Dude.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
It was really good.
It's
the dudes
so
from
good.
Workaholics. It's so good, man.
If you like Workaholics, you're gonna love that fucking movie. It's so funny.
I'm also watching.
It got terrible reviews, by the way.
Oh, I don't know why, because it's fucking hilarious, but it's really like crude humor though.
That's why there's a lot of people like this is not the right time to air this kind of movie because of all the Me Too bullshit.
Yeah, there's like a fucking autoerotic asphyxiation joke, and he's literally pantsless swinging his dick around for like 5 minutes, dude.
Dude, it's so good, Jerry. You have to watch that movie. It's fucking awesome.
You do. But yeah, and like I'm watching a series of unfortunate events right now, which I mean it's all right. I think I'm mainly watching it just because I got a 4K TV and it's in 4K.
Yeah, I think that it's called Bright. Yeah, that was the movie. But that was
Bright is the Will Smith one.
That was the first one. It was the end of 2017, and people were like, "Whoa, we're getting exclusive movies now!" And then that's probably what you see the jump in subscribers in one quarter.
It's that, and then it's just got the staying power because I mean. In the last 5 minutes, you guys just listed off, I think, like 7 exclusives that have come out like in the last 6 months. That most people haven't been able to watch all of it.
The real reason the new season of Trailer Park Boys came out.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Have you seen that one yet?
I'm like on episode 4 or something.
It's the best season I think ever of Trailer Park Boys. It's so good, dude.
It can't be. It can't be.
So
I haven't
good.
Seen it yet, but it can't be.
I'm telling you, it might not be, but it
can't be.
When you watch it, you'll understand. Because the last few seasons have been kind of soft, but this new season, they're honoring Leahy, dude. They're honoring.
I was gonna
Leahy.
say, like it's you can't have the best season without Leahy.
No, Leahy's in it.
He is still in it for a bit. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
They're honoring Leahy.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Because I was gonna say if it's Leahy-less, like
no, Leahy's in it.
You got some Leahy magic, dude. Moving on. This is cool. So you can download Kurt Cobain, David Bowie, John Lennon, Leonard Cohen, their handwriting as fonts, which I thought was pretty interesting. So there's this website here. I'm gonna put it up on the website so you guys can download if you want. This is out of yoururban.co.uk, and I don't know. I love handwritten fonts. I think if they're done well, they look pretty cool. Like they based the Kurt Cobain one off of the suicide letter, and some of the other documents that are written. Like you can see here how John Lennon's was based upon. So I think that's really a super smart way to create a font rather than kind of designing one. You know.
I mean, to be fair, they released his journal, so I don't know why they would take it just off his suicide letter, but
I guess that's a marketing gimmick.
Fucking guess.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I think Kurt Cobain's handwriting font is the best one too. It just looks so good. All right.
That's a nice little niche thing, but I don't see myself ever using it.
Yeah, probably not. Unless you wanted to write a suicide letter.
Yeah. And you wanted to type it, but also make it look like it was handwritten.
Twitter bans popular accounts accused of stealing jokes and selling retweets. Some accounts are at Common White Girl, at Dory, and at So Damn True. Twitter suspended several popular accounts on Friday in a major crackdown on tweet deckers, a secret network of accounts that make tweets go viral by retweeting the same content in exchange for money. So basically, you would contact these things, pay them money, they'll retweet it to their followers. That in turn gets you followers. They don't want that happening. Twitter wants you to purchase promoted ads and stuff like that. That way, kind of organically grow a following, I guess. And they don't want these just like unorganic follows. But there you go.
You know who they need to ban? They need to ban those accounts that are fake celebrity accounts that do fucking bullshit ass quotes and say bullshit ass stuff that the actual celebrities would never say.
And all the bots. And all the bots. They need to ban a lot of accounts. They need to ban.
Yeah, they do. But especially those fake celebrity accounts. I'm sick of looking at my Twitter feed and everybody that I follow that's local around here that's like some, I don't know, like
Twitter celebrity.
Yeah, no, not a Twitter celebrity, but like just a regular person around here they'll like retweet a celebrity tweet, and it'll be like fucking Lil Pump saying she's gorgeous. Why do you ever leave? You know, some shit that they would never say whatsoever.
Yeah. And it's like Lil Pump 1 or some shit like that.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah, I agree. Twitter needs to clean up, and I think they're trying to do. I would say this is probably the last kind of accounts that they should be banning. There's a lot of accounts they need to ban. Oh, there's an article written by Slate.com called the Twitter Invoice. I thought this was pretty interesting. So essentially what's going on is people who get viral tweets, so they make a big joke or they do something crazy or they capture like, I don't know, like some type of crazy thing that happened and they tweet about it. It goes viral. There's this thing called the Twitter Invoice that people are doing now, which essentially you'll see a lot now. I've noticed it after reading this article. But they'll tweet that, and then right underneath that, they'll say, "Hey, by the way, if you like what I'm doing, make sure you PayPal me at, you know, their PayPal address." And then, or they'll say, "Hey, download my mixtape." You know, that's a big one. They'll post like a DatPiff thing. So essentially, they're trying to monetize viral tweets. Because really the only people that benefit from them is Twitter themselves, and then, you know, whoever, if they're sharing something or I don't know, you know what I mean? They're not really benefiting much from their tweet going viral. This is an interesting way that they can try to get some money off of it. I don't know who's looking at tweets and going, "Wow, what a funny tweet. I'm going to PayPal this guy $10." I don't think that's happening much, but
no one.
You know,
that's who. No one.
I always say this about things in the world, and there's always an audience. So who knows? Maybe there are people. I mean, if you make $100 off a tweet, go for it. Check that out at slate.com, the Twitter Invoice. Here's another cool thing that I saw on medium.com. This dude makes a fucking smart mirror. Basically takes this like glass panel.
Oh, dude, this has been a DIY project for a minute. It's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
So his is like, I think based on like an Android lock screen. And essentially he's got the little weather widget, a little time widget, and then like little news feed, little news RSS feed. And it's done super tastefully where it's like white text on it. So it's not very invasive. There's no color involved, just nice and clean. And you guys can see it here. It's pretty fucking cool.
This guy did a really great job because there are smart mirrors out there if you really want one, I guess.
Yeah.
He did a really cool job of doing this.
Yeah, he did.
This was like a couple of years ago, I think, but it's still fucking sick.
Yeah, this thing does look sick as shit. Like I would love to have one of these.
So basically he did it like in his cabinet too, so you can still use the cabinet, and he shows you on the back he uses this Chinese kind of converter that takes basically puts anything to a 40-pin display. So he's using it for the HDMI, and then he has like a green LED that he attaches to it. He has like a Wi-Fi dongle. He has and then it's all run on the Amazon Fire Stick that uses an Android APK that drives the UI, which is smart. And then there's also a button that he adds to it to make it look a little nicer. But he did a good fucking job on it, and I want to try to do this. I think it looks sick, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Imagine going to someone's bathroom and you're like, "What? The fucking weather?"
The wiring and the actual board itself doesn't look like it'd be that hard to deal with.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of
tweaking. This is more of a code project than it is an actual hardware project.
Yeah, like hardware project. Yeah, I could put this together, but I couldn't get it to work right. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, check. I'm gonna check this guy out. He might have done updates for it.
I'm sure that he's done like he's put out some kind of DIY guide to do it yourself, unless he's just one of those dicks that's like, "Hey, I'm gonna have it and nobody else will have it."
I've seen
Welcome
it before.
to Medium.
I've seen it before, but I've never seen it done this nicely. I will say that.
Yeah.
It looks really clean.
I love Medium, but yeah, welcome to Medium.
Yeah, I love Medium too. I've been like super into Medium the past month.
I hate that shit when people are like, "Hey, look at how cool this is," and I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
Well,
figure it out yourself. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Medium it's from the guy who made Twitter, and you still can only. I mean, I think you can log in with more, but like when it first came out, it was dope, but you could only log in with Twitter, and like I mean, it was still basically linked to Twitter.
Yeah, you could do Google now.
Okay, but like I mean, dude, it's a one-off blog platform. I mean, they've definitely figured out ways to monetize it since then, and there are a couple of people who use it entirely as a blog platform, but originally it was like that's why a lot of it on this site was, you know, cool shit. It was meant for one-off long form. Like, I have this really important thing to explain, like a press release or like a cool thing I did like this, and here's a really nice platform that I can make a 20-minute post on that people actually give a shit about.
Yeah, I used it for an article that I wanted to like get out there because I saw Medium had some traction to it, and I actually got like a lot of traction on that article.
No, dude, Medium. I've loved Medium since it came out.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I want to use it more, but I'm afraid I don't want to use it as like a blogging platform. You know what I mean?
You don't know. You don't.
It's kind of turning into that. It seems like.
Well, it's still at its core. I think it's best as I mean, it's basically it's best as a like a press release sort of site almost.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, this is important. You should check this out, or like long form journalism or stories, like longer stories. But it was always cool too because it still has full Twitter integration, so like you can see, like example, this I know Ev Williams liked it. I know Casey Newton from The Verge liked it, like just from people I follow on Twitter and shit like that. But it started becoming kind of like a blog because I remember about, I want to say 6 months. It might be longer than that now because time flies. They did eventually roll out a way for single users to monetize it, where you can basically kind of use it as a pseudo website, as your platform. Like if you get big enough on it, you can basically be like, all right, I'm writing here full time. You can buy my stuff for $5 a month.
Oh, right on.
So it offered like a subscription platform, but for writing.
Yeah.
So that's why you see a lot more of the blog stuff now.
All right, Jerry, let's talk about this dope case, the Liam Lee 011.
Dude, the greatest case.
The greatest case.
The Liam Neeson 011.
Dynamic. Okay, it's very important to remember dynamic because the 011 already exists.
The Liam Neeson 011 dynamic PC case. So if you can see it here. This is by Gamers Nexus, and then Hardware Canucks did an awesome video on it as well.
Yeah, find like the actual Liam Lee thing.
I mean, I watched like the first 5 seconds of the video, and when I see it, I'm just like, man.
Dude, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's
too much. That's too much glass, man.
What? No such thing.
I think this is like one of the few cases that have done a lot of glass tastefully, and that's why I like it.
I mean, yeah.
But I also have the shit to have it look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't look like some kind of RGB nightmare. So I give it that. At least the LEDs in it are just regular, like soft white LEDs, and not like
a Christmas tree.
Yeah, like a fucking Christmas tree.
Does it come with? I don't think it comes with LEDs.
Might just be in the fans then.
Yeah,
Probably
I think that might just be like the fan, like because this case, that is a downside to it. It doesn't come with fans. Like this case was designed. It's being produced by Liam Lee, who is they're a premium case manufacturer. There's not really a way to put it. Because before I think this last year, their cheapest case you could buy was like $300+. Like Liam Lee's the guys who made a desk that you can put a PC in for like $1,000, because why not? But this was basically DeBauer, who is a German overclocker's like child. Basically, Liam Lee worked with DeBauer. He pretty much completely designed the case for performance and looks, but mostly performance. And then Liam Lee just made it for him pretty much.
And it's the newer version. It's bigger. It allows 2 PSUs. and it's $100, which is why the case is so
it's
fucking
130.
awesome. Oh, it's 130.
It's on pre-order for $100.
Oh, okay, okay. But still, I mean, the old
Even for
011,
130,
the old 011 is $230. You know.
Yeah, and this is way better in every way.
Yeah.
But no, there's no LEDs on it that I know of.
So on this show,
I think that's just the lighting.
So you can see here in Gamers Nexus video, it has.
And it also has a Type-C port.
Yes, it has Type-C port in the front, which is a huge selling point. It's got a room for 360 rad that kind of goes like into the side.
It has room for 360 millimeter radiators.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to fucking put 3 in.
So I mean, if you're a water cooler, that's basically what this version of the case is made for. And if you do water cooling stuff, like this is a wet dream, because you have those 3 intakes on the side that actually work really fucking well, even though it doesn't necessarily seem like that should. But everything that I've seen testing wise is if you have the 3 on the side as your intake, there's so much airflow even with all of that closed glass, which is what's kind of nuts about it. Is there is so much glass, but it actually has a fuck ton of airflow that it works. Because the top's still open, the bottom's still open, but it's also lifted over 1 inch, so you still have good airflow. Like there's more airflow on that bottom than from the top of most cases, which is absurd to me. But like it just, I don't know, to me it just looks clean. You can do whatever the fuck you want when it comes to water cooling, and having it actually look nice and like build quality be fucking fantastic.
And then on the back, it has like this big metal rod panel thing, which hides all of your cables. Again, you could put 2 power supplies in it. It's just dope case. And I like how the motherboard is sitting on like a platform here. Like it extends out onto this platform, which I think is cool.
No, and I mean, there's just stupid little smart things that is nice about it. That back platform, it hides your cables. It holds either 2.5 SSDs or 1 2.5 and 1 3, like normal full size drive, while still hiding all of your shit. The only way to get a second PSU in there is you have to remove the hard drive cage, but there's still also 2 SSD slots on the inside of the case, like underneath the motherboard too. So I mean, there's 4 SSD slots and 2 hard drive slots, which is, I want more, but most people don't care, obviously. Yeah.
And most people aren't going to use 2 power supplies either.
Yeah. Like that is like my biggest knock against it, is I do wish I could fit more than 3 standard size hard drives in it. But I really like this chamber design of hiding the PSU behind the motherboard instead of on the bottom in a shroud, because apparently it's working great for thermals. Apparently thermals, it's fucking fantastic, but also it just looks a lot cleaner.
Yeah, in
my opinion.
And it's got USB 3.
Power supply shrouds already looks really fucking clean. It's also if you're one of those people who want to do vertical GPU cooling, so like where you use a riser card and then stand your graphics card up so it's facing, vertically, so it's facing you instead of being on its side, this is the only case to buy, because this is the only case pretty much that's put it far enough away from the glass to not completely choke it. Because usually a lot of those vertical GPU mounts, they put them right up to the glass, so the fans is just against the glass and you're just choking your GPU. But this one's far enough away that it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do with this case that I really like, and personally, I think it looks really fucking good.
I think I'm leaning more towards the black now. I think I like the black one the best.
I gotta go white, but that's just because it fits my motherboard and all my components. All my shit's pretty much white and black, and it would look really good with the white and black.
Yeah.
I don't know. I fucking love this. The only reason why I haven't already bought it is because so right now you can only buy black. You can't buy white yet.
Definitely get it. Definitely get the white when it comes out. All right. New Blackmagic Design. We got some camera news. Blackmagic Design announces Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K for just $1,295, $1,300. This is cool. Blackmagic always makes these like micro 4/3 cinema cameras.
And they're usually pretty good though.
Yeah,
I remember when those first came out, I wanted one.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, I used one on and we shot a event music video thing, and the guy that I was with had a little Blackmagic, and I was like, "You're gonna use that fucking little thing?" But it created excellent images, and this is the new upgraded version. They finally released it. 4K, USB-C expansion port. There's nothing really else to it. It uses the a 10-bit 4K sensor, but it's Blackmagic, so it's a little tiny one. It's not that tiny, but it is small, so that's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, it's not tiny in any way, but it's small for the type of camera it is.
Right.
The idea too with Blackmagic stuff is I guess it would be prosumer. I guess like the Pocket stuff's not professional, but it's trying to be, but they do have a professional line. So the reason why this is so big is, in theory, at least with the Pockets, you could always use most of the really high-end shit.
Yeah.
So like you could buy the Pocket camera and actually be able to take that with you with your fucking $5,000 Blackmagic mounted lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is like a B-roll camera. It's a 4/3 sensor, so you got that crazy crop on it, but it's the 10-bit ProRes, 12-bit RAW, which is good at 4K. And it's pretty cheap too. What's not cheap is this fucking lens. Canon is releasing a $70,000 50 to 1,000 millimeter lens. It has like this whole servo mount on it. Gigantic fucking lens. Mainly, the only reason you would buy this lens is if you worked for National Geographic and you worked in the wildlife reserves and you wanted to take fucking videos of wolves and shit.
And also needed to take that video from a mile away.
Yeah.
But
it's dope. If you are a Nat Geo wildlife fucking videographer, you're probably like, oh, finally.
What is this thing, dude?
It's massive. Massive fucking lens.
What the fuck?
And the quality here, here's a little video of it.
Dude, the fact that
amazing.
This looks like and is bigger than a 1990s VCR, or like not VCR, but like, a tape deck recorder, like dad's VHS fucking video recorder is kind of great.
Yeah. Putting that on like an A6300, which is like this big.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. But dude, it does create some awesome images. You just have to spend $70,000 on it, which you probably will never do. You'll probably get a corporation to do that for you if you're that high up. And what's the coolest news that has come out is ProRes RAW has been released. It was announced at NAB, which is where all this new kind of camera stuff is coming out of. Atomos is releasing their new recorder, and it also uses the new Apple ProRes RAW, basically giving you the efficiency of ProRes with the usability of RAW, which is pretty dope. What makes me happiest is that they're still trying to do better with their codecs, which I like. And I don't have any cameras that are gonna be able to use this yet. Hopefully we get some more in the future. Hopefully the new Sony A7R3 or A7S3 is able to record in ProRes RAW, because I really want to check it out. But right now, I think like 2 cameras have it, so we'll see more about it in the future. ProRes really too.
Don't worry, dude. It'll be a $500 upgrade.
Nah. ProRes is I usually always
dude, that's the camera world. You know what I mean? That's why you'll never get a headphone jack on the RX 100 or whatever it is, the R100. Excuse me.
No, they have a headphone jack, I think.
No.
I think.
No, there's no mini XLR on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like you're never. I don't think there's ever going to be one. Like I just don't, because
that might be in the next version. It's one of the biggest criticisms.
Saying that for like 5 versions.
Yeah, it's
like I don't think they're going to, because like what I mean.
But that's also a point and shoot.
Yeah,
a point and shoot camera though.
But it's exactly. So they're never going to put it on that because they don't want you to buy the point and shoot. They want you to spend the extra $500 and get the step up to the DSLR. And then you realize you still need this other feature and better image quality. So they want you to step up an extra $700. You know,
well,
it's a trick.
I would say
that's why they're never going to put it on that.
I would say that used to be the case until they just dropped their A7 III, which is basically an A7R III just scaled down. It has like everything you could ever want in that kind of camera, which no one kind of expected, because usually what Canon does is do that. They hold back features so you get their cinema line, which is fucking tens of thousands of dollars. That used to be the case in Nikon as well. But Sony seems to be pretty good at inputting features in it. If they release a RX100 6 and it doesn't have a headphone jack or a mic jack, well then that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I think they're getting better at it, but still not on that price point. I don't know, Panasonic's the only company I've seen that's like, sure. Like Panasonic's the one that's trying to lowball everyone. Everyone else I've always seen is like, we want you to buy the $1,500 one, not the $1,000 one.
Yeah, but they just released
after $1,500. You're in our ecosystem. We're good. You're stuck.
They just released the 5SR. I forget what it's called. The GH5S, and they didn't put the fucking image stabilization on it. So when you hand hold the video, it looks like shit. And that's an awesome fucking Lola camera, which you could do that. I don't know. All I know is ProRes RAW. We haven't seen it yet, but I will keep you guys updated on this because I do most of my video processing now through Final Cut because it's so much faster and the encoding is so much better than Adobe's for some reason. And it's way more efficient. I don't know what Apple is doing with ProRes that makes it so fucking efficient, but it's blowing Sony's fucking codec, Canon's codec, and whatever Adobe's codec is out of the water. So that's why I'm really excited about ProRes RAW, because it just doesn't quite have RAW capabilities, but now it does.
It'd be nice if like there was real competition in that space, because I think that's why Adobe's just sucks. Who competes with Adobe?
Yeah, you have that, which is an industry standard now, is Adobe, and then you have Final Cut, which used to be industry standard, but they kind of lost their way.
But
and
they
it comes back.
But the problem with those though is like I can't consider them a true competitor, if that makes sense.
To each other, you're saying?
Yeah, like it's just any proprietary software I can't consider like a true competitor in that sense. Like if you're going after, like you're trying to fight an industry standard.
I would say DaVinci Resolve is probably the best competitor to it all because it's free for one. It's pretty fucking complex, and it uses the Blackmagic color codec science, which is pretty interesting. It takes any codec, but it's just not as efficient as ProRes. Not yet, at least. All right, listen to this story. Amazon warehouse workers pee into bottles because they're scared of being punished for taking a comfort break. Did you guys read this story? Basically, these Amazon workers, because they're all tracked by all these fucking cameras and sensors and shit, they're afraid to take piss breaks because the bathrooms are so far away and they have to meet their quotas and they have to stay on schedule and they have to, fill in a number of orders, that they've been pissing in bottles, which is fucking insane, dude. You're talking about Amazon. And their workers are pissing in bottles. I guess that's how you become Amazon. You make your workers piss in bottles, and that's how you become a fucking, that's how you become worth $112 billion. Insane, man. Insane. This is what we're going to be. And their biggest defense that Amazon has is that, hey, well, at least we're not hiring robots, which we definitely can do, and we probably will be doing soon. Not good enough, man. Come on, Amazon. I understand what they're trying to get at here, but come on, dude. I was talking to Brandon from Favora, and he says like Amazon basically owns all of Washington. It's just all people that work at Amazon. It's like an entire city.
Vape company, for those who don't know.
Yeah, flavoring company. But he says like it's just everyone just works at Amazon. It's like an entire city of Amazon workers, and it's like you gotta make them piss in bottles, dude. You can't give them fucking 10 minutes to run to the bathroom. Retarded.
They gotta meet their production goals.
Retarded, man. Don't work at Amazon. That's what that means. You're just gonna get replaced
Hey,
by
dude,
fucking robots.
are your
soon, you know?
timers over 30 seconds?
Is your time over 0.42 seconds? Pee bottle.
To anyone who's worked in fucking drive-through, I'm sorry, but that's basically what this is.
All right. 82% is Apple News. 82% of teens own an iPhone. 84% plan to purchase. This was surveyed out of how many people? There was a number here. I don't know how many people. I can't find it. But this is data gathered by investment firm Piper Jaffray, and 6,000 U.S. teens. So 84 of them own fucking.
I'm not
Apple
having
products.
fun with this website where I'm trying to link to this. I'm trying to click the links to the surveys, and it's taking me to the same fucking article. not really how you're supposed to do that.
That's what we call SEO in the business. But I don't know. I wanted to bring
Linking
that up.
to the same article you're reading.
If you're a teen, you're probably getting an iPhone. You probably want one, which makes sense to me. Apple has made it kind of cool to own an iPhone, and I guess Google's Pixel is the only other phone that can challenge that on the Android side. I wouldn't say it's cool to own a Samsung Galaxy, just iPhone. That's what it is. And the iWatch, which was another thing that they did. 44% wants a fucking Rolex. So there you go. That's a teen for you. Bigger news. In a leaked memo, Apple warns employees to stop leaking information. So this leaked memo that got out is warning people to stop leaking info. The Cupertino, California-based company said in a lengthy memo posted to its internal blog that it caught 29 leakers last year and noted that 12 of those were arrested. These people not only lose their jobs, they can face extreme difficulty finding employment elsewhere, Apple added. The company denied to comment on Friday. I want to know how much money that information is worth, where these people are risking their future employment and current employment on selling this information. That's what I want to know. It must be worth shitloads of money if they're willing to take that bet. I'm like, what could possibly be that important? Ooh, Apple's putting in a notch this year. Is that really worth that much money?
No, but their software is.
Like what? Like what would be worth, like the code to the software?
Yeah. The source code for iOS, stuff like that it's been happening over the last couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. So what could you do if you were a company, you bought that information? What would be something you would do with it?
I mean, if you have the source code to the iPhone, you have all of the code to the iPhone then.
Yeah, but how do you benefit from that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you make money with that information?
You can instantly get into everyone's iPhone, or at least know how.
But I'm trying to understand how you can make money from that. You know what I mean? Like, why would a company pay for that information? Because I understand if you're like nefarious.
The government will gladly pay for a lot of that. And linking back to what we talked about earlier, data. If you have a back group into any iPhone, you have a huge data source. That's even you could even make that more pervasive. You could figure out, you could figure out a backdoor to start figuring out call tracking. I mean, you could take that if you have the source code. I mean, you can figure out how to get into any iPhone. But if you also have the source code, you can figure out exactly how it's coded and make the world's best clone. Like, there's tons of things you can do with that, and why that's
so you're saying that these leakers,
that's a huge security flaw if they don't have it anymore, because it's not like.
Well, you're saying like this is mostly for nefarious purposes. It's not like companies are purchasing this info. Because if you're a company, you would want to exploit it, but you wouldn't exploit it in that way. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's that, but I mean, also you could possibly want that too for good reasons too. I mean, if you're an app developer, that's a gold mine, because now you know exactly how that operating system runs. You can just make the most efficient product the world's ever seen if you really wanted to. I mean, stuff like that. Like there's tons of things going down that path. Because ideally, if you could pick it apart and understand how it works, you could figure out how to integrate your stuff into it really effectively, and optimize all of your stuff for it really easily. So there's things like that. I mean,
yeah,
there's a ton you could do with like leaks of code. I mean,
I know 0 days go for a lot of money.
That's basically their product. You know what I mean? That's a huge one of their products.
Yeah, I guess that's how that company that was able to like make that box that cracked into those iPhones. They purchased a couple of 0 days, exploited some security flaws Apple wasn't able to track down from leakers.
Oh, man, that's that. And then also like, hey, dude, if you want to make your own operating system, here's a really great guideline. Just things like that. There's tons of things you could do with that. I'm pretty sure like Nokia would kill for it.
All right. Last crypto news. Muslims are now allowed to use Bitcoin. I didn't know this was a thing, but under Sharia law, there's a classification between halal for allowed practices and haram for non-permissible methods. Muslims can finally breathe a sigh of relief as a report by Blossom Finance has classified Bitcoin as halal under Sharia law, meaning it is perfectly fine to use Bitcoin. Interesting. I wanted to bring this up. You know, Muslim is the #1 religion across the world. So now that they can use Bitcoin, you get some of those big money Muslim traders coming in here. Who knows? Bring in some money. And then we got a $250,000 prediction by Tim Draper. Doesn't really mean much, but I wanted to bring it up because he's a pretty popular venture capitalist. And
what did he predict last week?
Probably like $100,000. Keeps going up.
A week before that, it was like, nope. Actually, it's back down to 12.
Keeps
12
going
cents.
up. He's saying it's 250,000 by 2022. Believe it. They're going to think you're crazy, but believe it. It's happening, and it's going to be awesome. That was on his Reddit, on this Reddit thing that he did. Tim Draper has been predicting Bitcoin market really well. In 2015, he predicted that Bitcoin would be 10,000 by the end of 2017, which was correct, which ended up being very true as Bitcoin price was above 13,000 on December 1st, 2017. Hence why everyone is taking his predictions very seriously, given the fact that his track record for predictions on Bitcoin is 100% so far. So don't see too much into it. But hey, Muslims being
he's got 100. What's the proof that his record's 100%?
That one prediction right there. He's 1 for 1, dude.
All right, there we go.
He's fucking 1 for 1. Yeah, this is at Toshi Times, which is if you're into big cryptocurrency, check out Toshi Times. It's run by a ton of really smart programmers in cryptocurrency scene, and they basically give you all the news and stuff, and I've been enjoying reading Toshi Times. So check that out. Shout out to Toshi Times. All right, that's it for the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you follow us at No Life Digital on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Hit up our website, nolife.digital. And yeah, remember our shows every Tuesday, every Wednesday. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Check it out at nolifedigital.digital.nolife.digital.